I would like to lend my voice to Honorable Aisha from Tanzania, who alluded to a very serious problem indeed, and that is the migration of domestic maids to some countries. We are going to use some diplomatic words here, but we would like to draw the attention of the Pan-African Parliament to this phenomenon. The migration of our young people to Gulf countries is regular. They are given a visa. But once they start working there, their fundamental rights are violated, the labor code is not respected, and their human rights are not respected, and they suffer from degrading, inhumane treatment. In July 2018, we celebrated Mandela Day, and I met the South African ambassador in Kuwait at a center where African migrants were detained. And so the South African ambassador went there because some of the migrants did not have embassies representing them there. And the stories we heard from those girls were really sad. Two of my nationals to escape from these households actually jumped from the 6th and the 4th floors, respectively, and they had to be treated by the Kuwaiti government before they were sent back home. So I would like to call upon the Pan-African Parliament, and whenever we have to ensure that the rights of these migrants are respected and well treated. Thank you. Thank you. I give the floor now to Honorable Jamel Angir Patari from the Sahrawi Republic. I give the floor to Honorable Marie Mediatrice Isabeliza from Rwanda. I give the floor to Honorable Evangelina Philomena Oyu Ebule from Equatorial Guinea.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for giving me the floor. I wish to add my voice to this debate in order to make a few recommendations. But, however, many of my recommendations have already been stated. Our governments should really carry out efforts so that our children do not lose their lives in the Mediterranean, as well as other seas. There's a need to search for ways in order to have better conditions so that our youth is not forced to emigrate. It is a shame how they lose their lives. Women, pregnant women, small children, young people that have lost hope. This should be a major concern to all of us. And we should dedicate a lot of our time in these meetings to look for solutions and recommendations that we would be able to present to the heads of state so they are conscious of this extremely serious situation and not leave it just in the hands of the Europeans. Thank you.
Gracias, Evangelina. And now I want to give the floor to Honorable Dr. Candet Kole Yumekela from Sierra Leone.
Much. From my point of view, it comes down to economics. People move out, yes, because of difficulties at home, but they're looking for greener pastures. The answer is structural change in African economies. We are still commodity-based, we're still agrarian. For as long as that happens, our kids will move out. Countries that have advanced are all industrialized. Unless we reform our economies, make them grow, create opportunities, our children will move. They will become slaves somewhere else. But that transformation cannot occur without solid visionary leadership. We can negotiate with other countries to give them visas and so on. They will only take those who are productive. Those who are not productive will have to be illegal aliens and will be subject to inhumane conditions. So the responsibility comes back to us. We are the parliamentarians of Africa. Our presidents, our ministers do things the way they choose to do it because we don't provide the necessary oversight. They keep our economies poor. So yes, I like the report I see, the numbers are increasing, but let's put it in our perspective. By 2030, our continent will have 1.4 billion Africans. By 2050, 2.2 billion. 1 billion more people will be added soon. What economic opportunities will we create? If we don't do the right things, they will migrate, but perhaps they will revolt as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now I want to give the floor to Abdiazi Abdillahi Mohamed from Somalia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to thank the presenter for this report on immigration issues. Mr. President, I was among Pan-African Parliament delegations that went to Brussels last year to discuss the immigration-related issues with the European Parliament. And unless we properly address one main factor, I don't think that we will reach where we are going. The most important thing is to address, as long as we are exporting raw materials from Africa, it will be very difficult for us here in Africa to stop our people to immigrate to Europe. And that is the main challenge we really need to discuss with the Europeans and other countries. Mr. President, if you go to China nowadays, you will see many African students who are studying in China. And Chinese, they are not complaining. And after they graduate, they will even offer opportunities of jobs. You can see many African young people who are teaching English and French and different places in China. I don't know why Europeans and Americans are complaining. Our agreement is when they are exporting raw material from this continent. I think the best solution to stop people immigrating from Africa is to stop exporting raw materials from this continent. With that note, I thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And now I want to give the floor to Honorable Youssef Al-Fakrin from Libya.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Dear colleagues, I would like to greet you all this morning. Mr. President, we thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And I would like to start by extending my thanks to the presenters for the quality of their presentations. We actually need to discuss this important issue, and we need to identify solutions to this problem. Now, legislation on migration and the rights of migrants needed as we witness the violation of migrant rights. Mr. President, in this regard, and to protect the rights of migrants, allow me to make the following clarification. Unfortunately, I heard comments to the effect that Libya is using migrants as slaves. I would like to reaffirm, Mr. President, that we in Libya do not commit such acts inside Libya. Libya is a Muslim country. We are a Muslim country 100%. And since Islam came to our country, we rejected those acts. Mr. President, everybody knows that Libya opened up its arms to Africans. It has never been a place for the violation of African rights. Mr. President, I believe that those comments are based on a video clip on social networks. We can confirm that we in Libya, as government and people, completely deny this, and there are no such acts taking place in Libya. Mr. President, we need to find out identify the countries who were behind disseminating such information. This is not the right place to refer to these countries. Mr. President, dear colleagues, as a member from Libya, I would like to invite you to visit my country. And those who have concerns and reservations about Libya and about violations of the rights of African migrants, I would like to invite you to visit Libya, and we will facilitate your visit to see the sites you think are the the areas of violations of human rights. Thank you. I understand the feelings of parliamentarians during the summit between the African Union and the European Union in Côte d'Ivoire. It was the video. It was clearly established that the video clip shown by CNN was established, and the violations were perpetuated on Libyan soil. We did not say that the Libyans were behind this. These violations took place in the Libyan territories, and this is why when Honorable Abdelaziz talked about this, he did not go this into detail. We actually prepared a motion that was prepared by Honorable Kone to stop the trafficking in persons that is taking place inside the Libyan territories. The Libyan authorities said that they were not behind this and that the violations were made by bandits, but we never accused the Libyan authorities. Please rest assured that that is the case. During that summit, the facts were established. We saw houses where young people were detained. Mali and Senegal sent planes to repatriate their nationals who are living in Libya. Let's not deal in detail with this, but facts are there. Now I would like to give the floor to Honorable Mohamed Zakani from Morocco. You have the floor, sir.
Zakrani.
Zakrani, Honorable Zakrani. Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President, for the Moroccan delegation. I would like to thank the presenters for the quality of their presentations. Allow me to say at the outset that the question of migration is not a question of political speculation or populist speculation. This is a strategic issue that is affecting the African continent at the moment. We need to cooperate together in order to solve the problem of migration, in order to identify the right solutions. Let's not focus on details that were addressed by the African Union. And the African Union made decisions on this. Migration is an entire system that has to be dealt with economically, culturally, and socially. The question of this is the nature of migration. First, we need to have development inside African countries to prevent youth migration. Africa is rich with human resources and non-human resources. As we indicated yesterday, Africa has to fight against corruption. It has to bring corrupt people to accountability. Africa has to build democracy to make sure that these young people stay inside their countries. Let me say that Morocco has achieved a great deal of success in dealing with migration. We have been able to settle the cases of 50,000 migrants in Morocco. We believe that we are Africans and these African people are our people. And this is exactly what His Majesty the King said in the AU summit. So this is an important issue to us. We have in Morocco at the moment about 15,000 African students who have scholarships from the Moroccan government. In Germany, for instance, the King of Morocco was chosen as a champion for African migration. There will be an international meeting in December 2018, and there will be a meeting on migration to identify solutions to migration. Mr. President, we as parliamentarians, on the 30th and the 31st of October, the Moroccan Parliament is going to organize an international conference on migration with the participation of various African economic councils. So there is an international trust in Morocco, and this is not commensurate with the political speculation we heard today. Long live Africa. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, colleague. I think that we need to avoid getting too passionate. I'd like to give the floor to Honorable Mariken Monti from Mauritius. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the floor, and thank you to the two speakers. Mr. President, the issue that's being debated today is very important because it addresses the issue of migration and the governance of migration, which is internal, external, and circulatory. Mr. President, we can see that men desire to go elsewhere and to find other opportunities, and that the tendency to feel that they can find greener pastures elsewhere. But you can see the human tragedy without precedent in terms of its intensity and its frequency. Illegal migration is one of the worst human tragedies, and it is a desire for survival in order to live. And illegal migration, as was stated, is an effort at bypassing the rules. And the sincere images of our countries will lead to a major battle and a long journey that needs to be embarked upon with the sincere desire to find a way of rescuing the youth of our population. We have a population in Africa that is rich with youth who are an advantage compared to other parts of the world where there is an aging population. Education, information, training remain the best basis for ensuring our youth to stay at home. It is a long battle that needs to be embarked upon. Why should our children continue to die? This is an image that haunts the entire African continent. We really need to find means of retaining our youth and enabling them to receive appropriate education, online training in line with the needs of the market, and this requires a better management and addressing the needs of our citizens. A lot of the youth have a desire to flee and to leave at all costs. Better health services are needed. Better employment opportunities are needed in order to save the lives of our youth. The time has come for collective, frank, and solid action, and in order to address any hypocrisy. And we need to ensure that our political leaders become aware. Action and decision-making needs to be high on our agenda in order to avoid what we are witnessing. On our agenda, we also need to include a solid willingness, and this should feed the vision of a better world and no longer animated by the desire to flee at all costs. On that note, Mr. President, I thank you.
Honorable member, and now I want to give the floor to Honorable Noor Edine Karbal from Morocco. Now let me give the floor to Honorable Abdul Kader Suleiman from Libya. Libya.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Good day, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the floor, and I'd also like to thank all the speakers during this session. With regards to illegal and irregular migration and what is happening in Libya, this is illegal migration, and Libya is suffering from this situation. And once again, this is illegal migration. There are those who pass through Libya, and we don't know whether they're coming from Djibouti or Somalia or Mali. So the country of origin determines the rights of those migrants. We want to protect those migrants. We want to defend their interests as human beings who are crossing through our country. But now, with regards to the Mediterranean, many are perishing there. And this is why Libya, of course, sympathize with these people, because due to this illegal migration, this gives ideas to the Libyan youth. They're saying that there are those who are crossing the continent to come here, and this gives them some ideas. So we give them the best treatment possible. We try to give them accommodation and to feed them. But when we listen to what is being said by the media, which is totally unfounded, we need to understand that this crisis has hit Libya, and currently we're facing a political crisis. There have been real political divisions, and there are armed factions. And in the southern part of Libya, we are facing this situation where we have bandits who are operating around the country and have a trans-border nature. So we're going to look at the root cause. We need to root causes of these problems, especially in the countries of origin.
The floor to Honorable Kadiba from Senegal. Mrs. Kadibal.
De m'avoir donné la parole.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the floor. First of all, I would like to start by thanking the two presenters for the clarity of their presentations. Mr. President, our concern today is the issue of illegal and irregular migration, as well as, and another concern we have is to sensitize not only the migrants, but also those people who are benefiting from it. I have three questions, Mr. President. My first question, there are human traffickers who take these migrants into the desert and Mediterranean, and you'll find that they face a certain death. And my second, it's always these people that we call human traffickers who are selling people as slaves. Are they not Africans like us, Mr. President? And I think that we as Africans, Mr. President, we need to come together in the face of this phenomenon that is ravaging our youth. Thank you. Thank you, dear colleague. I now give the floor to Honorable Patrick Mayombe Mubioko from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. President, thank you for giving me the floor. I would like to add my voice to that of previous speakers and thank the two presenters who spoke this morning. And at the same time, I would like to thank the government that is hosting us today in Rwanda. Mr. President, I just want to go to the heart of the matter because we are discussing the consequences, but we're not talking about the root causes. And I totally support what was said by Honorable Charles Lamasak from South Sudan and Honorable Samun Suse from Guinea, who talked about bad governance. It is governance that in Africa is poor governance. We have heads of state with no vision who are just there to make themselves richer. You saw the Panama scandal. And there are a lot of heads of state who are implicated in that. Let's not go around in circles. We have a serious problem that is facing the AU. Doesn't the AU need to revisit this? Because the AU is actually a syndicate of heads of state who protect each other to the point that even if there are elections that are chaotic, and we've seen that in several cases, you'll find that the heads of state cover each other, and you'll find that they just amend their constitutions and remain eternally in power. So, and there's nothing that they're innovating, there's nothing that they're changing. I think that the African Union needs to be able to solve